Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you once again for joining us. We're moving on to our next stellar lineup this afternoon, focused on Nigeria. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome the Honourable Minister of Mines and Steel Development of Nigeria, who is joining us from Abuja, together with Dr. Abdulrazaq Garba, the Director General of the Geological Survey of Nigeria, and Mr. Nasiru Wada, who's head of the Association of Artisanal Mines of Nigeria. Nigeria is a fantastic, fast-growing, emerging frontier for mining investment in Africa, and there has been a lot going on in the country in terms of exploration and refining and so on, which the Minister and his team will be updating us on. The moderator for this session is Mr. Mark Kenwright, who's Director of Wada Armstrong, has worked in Nigeria and many other African countries, and is extremely well positioned to moderate the session for us today. So without further ado, I'd love to hand over to Mark, who will be taking us through the proceedings today. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think I'm the moderator of today's discussions, and I believe the Honourable Minister will start off with some comments. We have a few talking points, namely an overview of the Nigerian mining sector 2020. Then there are also new developments within under the Nigerian Mineral Exploration Program, NIMEP, if I'm pronouncing that right. And then there is obviously a discussion on diversification of the Nigerian economy through mining, and obviously also the importance of the Nigerian mining, the opportunities and challenges for that. So I think those are the 4 mining points. So I'm sure we've got plenty to talk about. So if I may, Honourable Minister, hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, well, all gentlemen. No gender equality here. We should have at least 1 or 2 women on the panel. Well, nice one. Nigeria was into mining pre-independence, and we were well known for mining as a country. You know, we were exporting coal from Enugu, tin from Jos, and of course Columbite. And Nigeria was quoted on the London Metal Exchange. But with the advent of oil and gas, and of course with the immediate gratification that came from selling crude, we shifted focus away from mining and concentrated more on oil and gas. And with the price explosion, the price of crude oil rising in the 70s, it took us totally away from mining. And Nigeria more or less became known for just oil and gas to the detriment of the country. And the mining industry went in the doldrums. Everything just seemed to go down. But with the fluctuations that we started experiencing sometimes in the 80s, 90s, and of course, the early part of 21st century, we realized that we could no longer just rely on the oil and gas, which was subject to the vagaries of the international market. And anytime the price of oil went down, the economy, of course, was bound to slow down, and oftentimes we'll go into recession. So we started talking about, let's diversify the economy. Essentially, the talking point was, let's use agri and mining to diversify the economy. And it went on like that. But most administration that came into Nigerian governance space paid lip service to this slogan, let's diversify, diversify. It was just all talks until the advent of this administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015. And this is the first time a government in Nigeria will put money where the mouth is. And that was the first time we were getting some extra budgetary allocation to pursue mining in Nigeria. We all know mining is all about data, data, and data. And of course, with the potentials of all the minerals in Nigeria that will be established through some aeromagnetic survey, we needed to do some exploration, some core drilling to be able to present data that will be attractive to investors. This, of course, was provided for the first time by President Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, that is the what Mark alluded to then. That's NIMEP, National Integrated Mineral Exploration Projects. Yes, you got the name right, NIMEP. That's what, that's about a $50 million project. You know, this got involved a lot of international experts and all that. And we're beginning to, Nigeria is now coming back on its own into the mining sector in the world. People are beginning to recognize us. I've been to a few international roadshows. I was at Indaba. I was at the PDAC in early March, first week of March precisely. And, you know, with all these that we take it out there and propagate the gospel of NIMEP, people are beginning to come to us to recognize Nigeria as a possible mining jurisdiction. And then inquiries have been coming. People are now interested. But for the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, which has slowed down activity generally all over the world, we will have had investors coming in to inquire further about this. I think as we go on, I'll probably talk more about the NIMEP projects, other things. But for now, I yield the ground, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much for those introductory remarks. Perhaps I could ask just one or two questions and then see if any of the other panelists would like to ask questions. The 50 million US you talk about, for what period is that going to be spent?
Oh, that's just for about a year. The
Okay.
program was designed for a year,
Okay.
you know,
Right.
and it targeted just 5 minerals.
Right.
We target just 5 minerals within a year, and that program is being wrapped up. The project is being wrapped up now. Dr. Garba is also on this webinar.
Yes.
He's the chairman of that project. He's the expert on behalf of the ministry and government. We want to talk on that. So it's something that a project was designed for a year. We've had some months overrun because we had heavy rains towards the end of last year. So the core drilling could not start until sometime this year. So, but it's a project that's well on course. It's about being wrapped up. And then, of course, we can begin to present the result to the world.
Okay. And then looking forward, I'm sure everybody wants more money. Are you pushing for some more funds or a similar program or an expansion of the existing program? What could we potentially look forward to?
You must be a mind reader, Mark. I just asked the government for 4 times that.
Wow,
you know?
200 million.
Yeah,
Okay.
to give us $200 million, you know. We want to deepen our projects. We want to do this and all that. Yes, and they're competing needs for fund. I'm hoping that at least I get some. If I don't get all of that sum, I'll get something substantial on that. So we could do further exploration and, of course, also develop some other aspects of mining locally. Yes, of course, I've asked for that money.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Minister. Perhaps this is an opportune time for Mr. Garba to come in and tell us in a bit more detail about the program, if I may.
Good day, everyone. The Honourable Minister, thank you.
Good day.
It's my pleasure to be on this program. The NIMEP project is an effort, as the Minister has said, an effort by the federal government of Nigeria to wrap up exploration activities in the country. And the idea behind the NIMEP project, as is being stated, is to generally generate geoscience information that could spur investment into the mining sector.
We seem to have lost Mr. Garba. I know we have the other talking points. Perhaps we should go back to one of those, or maybe if it's okay, perhaps Mr. Wada could talk about the artisanal mining sector whilst we're waiting for the other gentleman. Oh, is Mr. Garba back again? Oh, Mr. Garba, yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
Yes, okay. The project, the National Integrated Mineral Exploration Project, is essentially designed to spur investment into the mining sector. And the idea behind it is to generate geoscience information that can attract investment into the sector. And in doing this, we looked at the general geology of Nigeria in the design, which shows that we have about 50-50 constitution of both the basement rocks and the sedimentary rocks we have in the country. And we look generally at the metallogeny of Nigeria, which shows that on the western flank of Nigeria, you have what we call the schist belt. And this is known for hosting things, the minerals like gold, lead, vein type lead, zinc. Then you have all the ultramafites there that has nickel, chromium, platinum group elements. We also look at the pegmatite belt, which runs across in the northeast, southwest direction, where you have minerals like lithium, like tin, like tantalum. Then the Benue Trough is known to host lead zinc mineralization. You have silver associated with this in this terrain. Then we have also barite, which has been looked into. So in essence, we have about 3 basic metallogenic processes we are looking at to generate geoscience information. And as at now, the project is to go in 5 phases, which is normally in the line of basic exploration methodology with variances depending on the mineral types we are looking at. And currently, the project is on the 4th phase of a 5-phase exploration program. And the 4th phase is about drilling and analysis. And reports reaching us from the drilling exercises, especially from the western flank of Nigeria, indicated that we have been able to define several tracts of mineralization where you have the ultramafites, nickel, chromium, cobalt. Then we have areas where you have mineralization such as gold, we have tungsten, then we have silver and lead. Now, drilling in those areas has shown that we have several intersections of maybe about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meters of gold concentration reaching up to between 1 to 7 grams per ton. And we have, interestingly, tungsten reaching up to 1,900 and something grams per ton. With this, you agree with me that some information are generally coming out from this exploration effort. In the lead belts, of course, we have several intersections of maybe 2, 3 meters of high-grade lead mineralization. And some of these areas are open, which means government can concession them subsequently at the end of the day. Now, in defining the tracts of mineralization, what we have done is to look at a small portion of the area, maybe 500 meters by 200 meters, and do drilling at resource to decipher information at resource definition level so that interested investors can continue from there. Basically, this is just the background to the NIME project, and several other things are coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Garba. Perhaps you could just, the Minister mentioned that the focus of the NIMEP program was, I think, 5 minerals or metals. Could you just define those for us? Were there 5 individual groups? Were there 5 specific metals or minerals that were the original focus of the NIMEP?
Okay, yes, you see, okay, by definition, you see, the 5 are, lot A1 looks at things like lead, zinc, vein type, and silver.
Okay.
Gold associated with them, silver associated with them, and this is confined to the western part of the country, which we call the schist belts. Then we now look lot A2. Lot A2 looks at a northeast southwest trending pegmatite belt in Nigeria. And we have mineralizations such as lithium, tantalum, and tin. Lot A3 is looking at lead, zinc, silver mineralization along Benue Trough.
Okay, the trough, okay, yeah.
Yes, Benue Trough. Then lot A4 also look at barites within the same Benue Trough. Then lot A5 looks at iron ore. And this is scattered. Of course, we have the sedimentary type, and then we have the banded type, which is associated with the basement rocks.
Sure. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And I think, as the Minister mentioned, and as you mentioned,
you're okay.
due to delays of the rains, and you're obviously in phase 4 of the drilling, which, as you mentioned, is hopefully to define some targets that other investors could follow in.
Yeah.
And I assume phase 5 is compiling all the information into a final report with recommendations. Fabulous.
Yes.
Okay, and from the work that you've done so far, I assume there've been some very positive results. You've mentioned some of the grades which seem to be of economic value, so thank you for that, and good luck with that. Would you see that the Nigerian government or some of the states might apply for those grounds, or do it in joint venture with private investors? What do you think would your approach be?
Now, what I'm saying is that we cannot say for sure that those grants may be totally open or totally unavailable. But what we intend to do is this, that where the areas are available, then government can put it up for investors to bid and come in. Where they are not open, government will encourage relationship between the owners of the title and private investors to take it to the next level.
Okay, fabulous. And just for those people who aren't familiar, I assume, as is typical for Africa, that the state owns the mineral rights, and companies and individuals can apply for those on a first come, first served basis. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's perfectly correct. We have a vibrant mining cadastral office that handles that one. And I can assure investors, if you are interested, you just apply to our mining cadastral. Then you have an advantage. Our cadastral has just come up online now, which means you can sit in the comfort of your office and your country, and you are applying for titles in Nigeria, and then everything goes on.
Yes, I was actually looking at that earlier today, and I'm sure the hosts of this talk will make that link available. It is very useful because it shows obviously the polygons that have been taken, who the owners are, I think the dates applied for and expired, and the minerals awarded. So I think it's a very useful tool, very transparent, and I think obviously that's what everybody's looking for nowadays. So it's an excellent system, and it should be supported. Thank you very much.
Okay, now I just want to add that the NIMA project is working closely with the cadastral office to ensure that by the time the results come out, I think we'll be able to define some of these areas on the cadastral maps, and interested investors can come up and take it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garba. Mr. Hussein, I don't know if you want to make any comments at the moment, or if we should ask anybody else if they want to comment.
Not at this stage, Mark. If we move through to the other presenters, I'm just here more in a kind of ceremonial chairmanship capacity, and for any kind of troubleshooting. So please do feel free to carry on with the other participants.
Thank you. Perhaps Mr. Wada, I believe you're the chairman of the artisanal mining and small scale mining. Perhaps you could comment upon the state of the artisanal mining sector. If I could hand over to you, sir.
Good day, all. Thank you very much for having me on this platform. To the Honorable Minister and to our distinguished DG, Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, which, as you have heard, they're doing a great job with the NIMEP program. Specifically, the conundrum of artisanal mining has been somewhat difficult to solve globally. Everywhere you have a mining destination, you historically have what was termed illegal miners in previous parlance, but which is now, in our political correct days, being called artisanal miners. So the essence is not to be antagonistic, but to try and manage and bring them into the mainstream of economic activities in the mining sector, given the numbers involved in the physical mining, and of course by extension, their dependence, the social impacts, the environmental degradation that follows uncontrolled indiscriminate mining. So in this vein, one must commend the federal government of Nigeria for being proactive, being positive towards addressing all the issues concerning the artisanal miners. To this effect, it has a whole department in the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development dedicated to finding workable solutions on the artisanal mining activities across the mining scape. They have done quite a lot in conjunction with international donor agencies, especially the World Bank and other friendly nations and organizations. Now, ours is a Artisanal and Small Scale Miners Association of Nigeria, which is designed to focus entirely on the artisanal mining front. Of course, we have the Miners Association of Nigeria, which is the umbrella body of all the miners in Nigeria, but we felt the artisanals needed a stronger voice in what is going on, and with the organization that is focused entirely on achieving their own aims and aspirations. We are in tune with what the ministry is doing towards bringing them into the mainstream, forming them into cooperatives that could also be entitled to hold titles in their own rights, and also cooperate with existing title holders so as to manage their expectations. So we can take the recent initiatives in the gold sector, where the government has taken the positive step of actually being an off-taker of the products of the miners, of the artisanal miners and the small-scale miners, which is a good, positive first step. We are in full support of that, and we recently held a gold Durbar in Kano, and which the Honorable Minister graciously attended and spent a couple of days with us. And so now that is a program that is well on its way. So we are now looking beyond that. We are looking at the other minerals like the lead, the zinc, the tin, the columbite, the limestones, etc. And we feel there's a lot of emphasis being placed on the mining aspect of the industry. And so we'll say that's the upstream sector. And we are concerned about the downstream sector of it, whereby the products are mainly, everybody's desire is to export what is produced. We feel it is about time we started looking at the possibilities of processing, adding value to the minerals that are produced either by the small scale or the artisanal miners, even by the large miners, into products that can go into the local industry and consumed as raw materials to produce finished products for our building industries, for our iron and steel sector, for our paints, for our pharmaceuticals, etc. So we are currently working on how we can engage with the necessary authorities and come up with a plan towards establishing, and you can call them industrial parks, specifically designed to cater for whatever mineral is produced in the locality, because it is not enough to encourage the production of the mineral. Okay, so the essence is to create these, you can call them self-contained industrial parks, whereby you use the local materials to produce your power, and you process the the minerals, add value to them, and you can replicate that across the mining destinations in the country and design specifically to the minerals available in each locality. Now, I know I've discussed with a few officials. In fact, I raised it with the Honorable Minister some weeks back, and he seems to be keen to look at that, because I feel if we can create a stable market for the artisanals and the small-scale miners, then in turn, the investors would be more comfortable in putting money into the production, whereby you have a guaranteed offtake of whatever you produce, you have stability of prices, and you create employment, and you boost the economy. That way, you also gain the experience and the expertise to start becoming a player on the global market, because you have to get your act together at home first, and then you can use that as a springboard to create wealth and bring social advancement to the teeming millions of unemployed people we have in Nigeria at the moment.
Fabulous. Thank you, Mr. Wada. Perhaps I could just ask a couple of questions, a couple of comments. I've recently written an article on the differences between artisanal mining and large-scale mining that should be published this month, actually, in the Material World magazines. And so I know a little bit about the artisanal mining, and obviously, having worked in Africa for 25 years, I've dealt and worked with artisanal mining. Perhaps just some facts from your side. Approximately how many people are involved, do you think, in small scale and artisanal mining within Nigeria currently?
It is a very difficult figure to come up with.
Sure.
We've actually embarked on a registration exercise to get the biometrics and just get some basic baseline data that we can probably extrapolate. But that question may probably be better answered by the Honorable Minister, because they have more resources in their hands. But we are looking at that on a very serious note, because we need that to drive the policies that we're trying to get the government to implement.
Sure.
So probably in about 3 months' time, I could give you a better answer.
Sure. I mean, it is artisanal mining is a significant driver in the mining sector throughout Africa. As an example, I'm sure you're aware, the cobalt and the coltan, the cobalt mining by artisanal and small scale miners in the DRC reportedly accounts for 25% of world supply. So it can be very, very significant. And there have been some very large steps forward, I feel, between to try to, as you've mentioned, as you're trying to do yourself in Nigeria, to formalize the sector, to try and bring a bit of structure, I suppose, and to encourage it within the right way, of course. And I know within the DRC, working with the mining company Trafigura, are trying to set up an umbrella company to buy all of the cobalt within the country. And obviously that will help with regulating it, taxing it, and obviously, hopefully also some workshops, some training for the artisanal miners for their benefit as well. As an exploration geologist, we quite often worked hand in hand with artisanal miners in the fact that they would sometimes do our exploration for us. So we would follow the artisanal miners, and then they would sometimes follow us as well. So it can be a positive relationship. I know places like Rwanda and other places that some of the mining companies there have employed some of the artisanal miners on a full-time permanent basis. So it doesn't have to be a negative relationship, but obviously it can be, but it's something that has to be managed very well. I don't know if the Honourable Minister wants to make a few comments at this stage, or if we should open the floor to some more questions.
Can I add something before you?
Of course.
Yeah. You mentioned 25% of mineral production in the DRC being the Artisanal has been responsible for that.
For cobalt, yes, for cobalt.
For cobalt. Well, with Nigeria, you can switch it around. The formal big mining in Nigeria is probably 25% of the whole sector.
Right.
Unless you go to the cement industry and probably the ceramics, that's where you have the big boys playing. But otherwise, I can dare to say 90% of the tin, lead, etc., gold being produced in Nigeria is by the artisanals and with their bare hands and picks and shovels. So we do have a long way to go to sort of flip the equation.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Which I know the ministry is trying.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, perhaps I could ask, are there plans to regulate or govern illegal mining activities or the illegal exploitation of minerals? I'm sure it's a difficult question. Perhaps you could make some comments from your perspective.
The illegal activities, essentially by foreigners, has been
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been a thorn in our flesh. Both Africans and non-Africans, we find them there. Most of them hide behind the activities of the artisanals. They did come into Nigeria with some expatriate quota for something else, and they end up in the mines. What we're trying to do, the first thing is about organizing the artisanals themselves. We win them off these illegal people because they tend to attract the artisanal miners with small amounts of money, you know, the promise to buy their wins and all that. So what we're doing essentially is to win the artisanal miners off the illegal people. We're creating mineral buying centers, government approved private mineral buying centers. We're also, just like the magazine said, Nasiru Wada, we are organizing the artisanal miners into groups, recognizable cooperative groups that can themselves now apply for small-scale mining lease, and also to avail themselves of the incentives government is giving. There's a fund that's reserved for artisanal miners, and the fund is so cheap. It's about 5% interest rates, so which can enhance their productivity. We're also giving training free. We're giving training, and also we're creating leasing centers, equipment leasing centers, which of course will work in conjunction with the buying centers. So you could lease the equipment, and then whatever you win, you could also sell at the buying centers besides each other. Now, talking about the legal miners, the legality. Recently, I went to the council, the Federal Executive Council, which is the highest organ of government for taking decisions. And I was granted some policies that we want to do. Now there's deeper collaboration between my ministry and some other ministries, like the Ministry of Interior. The Ministry of Interior is responsible for immigration. They are the ones who grant whether even the visas, the working permits to those people. We're asking them to go a bit further. When you grant permits to people, you need to follow up to make sure that they're staying within that permit. So we're collaborating with them on that. We're also collaborating with the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance supervises the customs. And that's where a lot of our minerals are smuggled out without any recourse to government. They don't pay the royalty due and all that.
Sure.
So we need to have a deeper monitoring with the customs via our Ministry of Finance. We're also working with the Ministry of Justice, because in some of our activities, we've caught some of these people. We need speedy dispensation of justice. The court system may be a bit clogged up because they have to be prosecuted at the federal high courts, and these courts got a lot of cases. So we're working with the Chief Justice of the country to create, within the existing framework, specialized courts that will handle mining cases only, so that we could have speedy dispensation of justice. These people could be given whatever is due to them on that. And finally, we are working with the National Security Advisor to the President, who has the overall security architecture of the country. to help us. We monitor by remote sensing where these activities are taking place, and then we quickly mobilize forces. There's something that's called now mines police. This is not really a new setup. It's members of the mine police are drawn from the existing the military and the paramilitary into this. So we're working with the NSA on that to help us. So wherever we notice any activity, illegal activity, we can quickly draw on this and then, of course, apprehend those people. These are some of the things we're doing to curb the illegalities.
Fabulous. Thank you, Honourable Minister. I mean, that sounds like a very integrated approach to, I'm sure, a difficult problem. And as you said, a lot of these people, you know, the middlemen and the people who finally take the product are foreigners who are operating illegally. So we can commend you to catch them and to keep the mineral wealth to be properly taxed and royalties paid for the benefit of the state and for the population of Nigeria. So can only wish you well on that. There's perhaps a couple of things just to comment. Wardell Armstrong, in conjunction with a couple of other companies, we have given a proposal to some NGOs and companies in DRC, but perhaps it's something that might be of use to you, whereby we would help develop workshops and also applications on phones that would be distributed free to artisanal miners in their own language, whereby they can monitor the prices of their commodities. You can inform them of workshops and other important information. So that might be something that could be of use to that sector. So perhaps I can send you some information on that if that's
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you. And then I suppose the other thing is obviously exporting of minerals, sometimes looking at some rock or some mineral concentrate, you don't know what's in. I previously, Wardell Armstrong has previously worked with the state of Zamfara, where we did a regional review of all of the mineral sector to try to highlight and attract investment. It was some years ago now, and as a follow-up to that, one of the recommendations we gave was for the authorities at export locations to be given handheld XRF machines that you can literally zap, and within 30 seconds it will tell you what's in that concentrate. So again, I'm sure perhaps that's already been implemented, but that's something that isn't expensive and could be done to catch what is the true nature of the commodity being export. Absolutely.
Yeah. We're working on something with it's called a new export policy. We're working with the Ministry of Finance. Like I said, they're responsible for customs, and that is in the offing. We're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Essentially, we want pre-shipment inspection.
Yes.
You know, there are agencies that are versed in this and they're very good at it. So basically what we're trying to do are those ports of exportation. These people will be there, they'll do pre-shipment and ascertain what you're taking out. And that's after you've obtained the export permit from the ministry. So we're working on this, and soon it's going to be made public and then become a policy. Everybody has to follow.
Fabulous. Thank you, Honourable Minister. And perhaps just a question, you mentioned right at the start that this, for the past few years now with the new government, there's real funding, there's real policies, there's real effort to expand the, let's call it the hard rock mining sector. Do you have estimates for what that percentage of GDP it currently provides and what you would like it to be in the next 5-10 years?
Well, currently we're doing about 0.6% of the GDP, that's mining. But our target is to go to 5% of GDP by 2025. That's in 5 years' time. With the right funding, we believe we can achieve this. Nigeria has attained that in the 60s. The mining was contributing about 5 to 6% to GDP. And we think by 2025, we should be able to do 5%. We've moved from 0.08 in the last 5 years. We're now at 0.6% of GDP as of 2019. Okay. Yeah, 0.6. So we believe that we can move to 5% by 2025.
Fabulous. You're going in the right direction. So congratulations on that. I found it very interesting from Mr. Garba and yourself talking about the focus. And I noticed that some of the minerals of focus, lithium was mentioned, tin was mentioned, and those are all obviously very important in the battery metals sector, which, as I'm sure you know, is very important. And you know, the billions and billions of funding being put in by the car manufacturers, I think those sectors can only grow. And I think one of the truisms of the battery minerals is tin is the glue that holds those batteries together. It was previously lead used to be, now obviously for environmental concerns tin is. And I think there are very few significant tin centers in the world. Obviously Indonesia, the Far East, it's perhaps going down. The Josh Plateau is well known for tin production, and I'm sure there's scope for additional discoveries there. So, and obviously you mentioned lithium. So I think those metals are still of significant interest and will continue to be so.
Yeah, I'm proud to announce that the Indonesian company, the Piketima, they bet in Nigeria. They established a Nigerian mine, Piketima Nigeria Limited, and that's what they have to. They're bringing a smelter to the Jos Plateau to start exporting tin ingots from Nigeria. So and that's one of the investors that come in. Yeah.
Fabulous. And is that a recent development?
It's a recent development, yes. The company was just incorporated in 2019 as Piketima Nigeria Limited, and they're working their way to bring in the smelting plant. And of course, they got the site already in Jos Plateau. And of course, they're going to start that process of mining, and of course not exporting the raw ore, but of course do smelting into ingots.
Fabulous. And what would the rough time frame be? And maybe end of next year or the year after for the refinery smelting to be up and running? Any idea?
Well, their plans I'm not because I mean it's something that we're ready for them, and we want them to come like yesterday. So depends on their corporate plans and then the funding. But we're ready for them. They've secured the land, so that's very important. And of course, we are receptive, and of course, we're giving you all the encouragement to come in. So I hope they do that quickly, maybe by first quarter, second quarter next year. And
fabulous. And I apologize, I'm focusing on you, Minister. I will speak to the other. And I've got you now, so I must ask you some questions. So one of the recent successes, and I know they're not quite into production yet, is Thor Explorations with their gold mine. Do you see that sector as also growing in importance for Nigeria? Yeah,
the gold sector is growing in Nigeria, and we're trying to create a whole economy around gold in Nigeria, and that's what the magazine where Wada was talking about. Thor Exploration is just one company in the southern part of Nigeria. They're building their mine now. I think I was there the second week of March to turn the sod. And work is progressing. They were in my office just, I think, on Tuesday of this week, the day before yesterday, to appraise me of the progress of work. And of course, they're working very well. They shifted their target from the first quarter to the end of first quarter next year before they start exporting gold. But they are building the mines and they're building the processing plants in Oshun there, and they're working on. But we're looking beyond just exporting raw gold. We want to refine locally. Like I said, we've given license to 2 people already, which already, one of them is completed. The second one is in the offing within the FCT here. As of today, I signed up on a license for Kano, and I'm sure Magaji Wada will probably be involved in that. There's a new refinery coming up in Kano, and I just signed up their refining license just today, this afternoon. So it's something that's really gaining momentum in Nigeria. Now we're having 3 refineries. So all the gold that's mined in Nigeria can be processed, at least into Dorbas and then into even BMA standards by these refineries. So it's something. And he mentioned the gold Dorba we had in Kano. That's to take gold to the next level. You know, making jewelry out of gold, adding value and all that, instead of taking them and having to buy them at a very expensive price. We can make the jewelry in Nigeria, create this souk, people can come to Nigeria to buy jewelries made of gold. So these are all the economy trying to create around gold here in Nigeria, and something that's gaining momentum.
Fabulous. I'm really picking your brains and getting some information hot off the press. So thank you for that. I wonder if you yourself or Mr. Wada or Mr. Garba could comment. I've always wondered why, or perhaps it's something that's been looked at. Would there be interest, you think, just like there is the Krugerrand and the Eagle, having maybe either a Nigerian coin or a West African gold coin that collectors and investors could buy? Do you think there would be interest in creating something along those lines? So a bit of a left field question, but something that I've always wondered about.
We're doing something even already. Nigeria is turning 60 in a few days' time. We got our independence in 1960. So Nigeria will be 60 October 1st. And we're making some commemorative coins. The federal government formed a committee. The celebration is supposed to be year-long for the whole year and all that. And part of the thing is to brand gold coins, the diamond the Jubilee of Nigeria. We'll brand those coins and will be for investors because it's going to have some value to it. Investors could invest in that gold. And of course, going further beyond that, it's something we'd love to do because the other sector of the gold economy we are creating is for people to be able to put their jewelry, their gold collection to use for them. We're trying to create specialized banks within Nigeria who will take this jewelry and offer you a certificate of a certain worth. With that certificate, you can discount it for money in at normal banks and all that. So you could put your jewelry to work for you as a capital. So all this is part of the gold economy. We issue gold coins, and of course, even people could buy the LBMA standard bars.
Sure.
So they're all in the offering.
Fabulous. Thank you, Minister. Mr. Wada, I don't know if you'd like to comment any further on what we've just discussed in terms of the gold mining. Thank you, Minister.
The Minister has done an excellent job on expanding on what our dreams about the Nigerian mineral sector is all about. So yes, the gold economy is a fantastic opportunity for us. The whole western part of the country is mineralized in gold. If you ask the geologists that know, they say basically the rocks are the same age as the Ghanaian rocks.
Sure.
And there's no reason why we can have multiple world-class mines in Nigeria. And I believe we're getting there. The NANEP program is an excellent development. But again, it's not only about the mining, it's about the added value, creating the economy, you know, designing, actually making the jewelry locally, having investable products like coins, medallions, certificates, whereby you can go on a platform and trade Nigerian gold virtually. And, you know, you go to the next step, a regional play for gold, you know, like in the centuries-old trans-Saharan trade routes, you know, and then you go to the African gold scene. It's coming along. It's coming along, and we're pretty bullish with what the government and especially the Honorable Minister, the energy they're putting into the sector is surely producing results. And we look forward to the next webinar where we might have some more breaking news from the Minister, but it's very encouraging to hear the PT people from Indonesia coming to set up a tin smelter in Nigeria. Exactly what we were saying.
Absolutely.
About adding value. When you're in the markets, you don't see Nigeria on those bulletins. Yet we produce a significant amount of tin ore that is exported. So now we're getting there. So the next thing, I think the next task would be to ensure we have a lead smelter in Nigeria, because the quantum of lead being exported is much more than tin. Now we have gold smelters in Nigeria. Soon they'll be certified, and then you can have your Nigerian gold traded on the LME and stuff like that, and it's certified So it's heartwarming, to put it mildly, and I'm glad to be able to be part of it. I'm really happy with all of that.
Excellent, thank you, Mr. Wada. I'll ask Mr. Garba a question in just in a moment, but I think from a consultant's point of view and somebody who's worked in Africa 25 years, I've seen over the past 5, 10, 15 years, the growth of the gold mining sector in, say, Burkina Faso, obviously Mali, and I think we're seeing the start or maybe the middle of the growth of the mining sector in Ivory Coast and Guinea. So I think those large-scale mines can add significant value in terms of royalty payments, taxes, and obviously employment as well. And I don't see why Nigeria shouldn't do the same. So I'm sure it will be exciting next decade to come. Perhaps, Mr. Garba, I don't know if you could comment upon being from the ministry. Have you seen many companies, international companies, come and register within Nigeria, newly registered to form companies to start exploring?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. Yeah, I may not be in a position to answer that, but from records coming from in my office in Geological Survey and inquiries coming into the office, quite a significant number of companies have been coming to make inquiries on the project and showing their interest to come and invest in exploration in Nigeria or procuring data from us in Geological Survey. If I must add, I will add this, that in recent times since the Developme project started, about 6 to 7 drilling rigs has come into the country, and quite a significant number of competent persons has been coming into the country, in and out of the country, coming to the Geological Survey to make inquiries on where they want to invest in. Thirdly, drilling exploration equipment like LIPS analyzer, handles analyzer has increased in quantum in the country, which shows that quite a lot of exploration activities are coming into the country. And some of them do share their data with us in Geological Survey. So this shows that a lot of activities going in the sector.
Okay, fabulous. And in terms of, obviously, once a company is awarded an exploration rights, in terms of the statutory reporting, do they have to do quarterly reports and then annual reports, or is it just an annual report? What are the typical requirements from your department?
Ideally, any company in the country, once they are carrying out exploration activity in the country on a particular license or title in the country, they are expected to submit reports to Geological Survey through the Ministry, Mines Inspectorate Department, or through the Mining Cadastre. Now, when such information comes to us, it adds to the information we build for the National Geological Survey, and at the same time, we play advisory role to some of the companies based on our local knowledge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Garba. And then another question, in terms of the data you've gathered as part of NIMEP, the drilling and the geophysical data, is that data going to be freely available, or there is a cost to that to interested parties?
Yes, basically just like the airborne data we have in the country, we provide this data at a cost, but when you consider the cost, it is insignificant. It's just a part of the government's way of generating revenue.
Fabulous. So it's a fraction of the actual true cost. So any serious player will obviously be happy to pay such a nominal cost, I'm sure. Well, from my side, thank you very much to all participants. I've certainly learned some new information about the formal and the informal sectors of Nigeria, and as the viewers will have heard, we've got some brand new information in terms of the Indonesian company coming to the country, some of the policies that are going to be enacted, and it certainly seems that there is a real integrated approach to developing the mining sector, with not only policies and obviously the various institutes and departments in Nigeria working collaboratively together, but real financing and real funding. So I can only say from myself that I fully support that and would expect that to be a springboard. And the next 12 months, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we will see the fruits of those labors. As a corollary to that, there was a very large geophysical program called TELUS Survey Northern Ireland, and that I think cost £5 million, and that generated 5 times its initial investment in terms of returns. So hopefully we'll see many more of those such returns from your $50 million investment, and hopefully the 200 million. And thank you for that information, and good luck with that application. And perhaps if I could say that's all for me, but I'd like Honourable Minister, perhaps if you could give some closing remarks, and then we'll go to the other participants as well. Thank you from my side.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk on such a forum. And we're at that stage in Nigeria now where we need to propagate our gospel that we're now a mining destination. And of course, every forum like this helps. You help us to put a word out there. Investors are welcome. We're hoping there are a lot of incentives for investors, from tax holidays to import duty waivers. So many incentives for investors to come into Nigeria. This is the right time. Minerals are still very close to the surface, so it costs us so much less to mine by an ounce of gold in Nigeria than in those, of course, mature jurisdictions. So please spread the gospel. Nigeria is the next frontier for mining. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Perhaps Mr. Garba, I don't know if you want to make some comments, final closing comments.
Well, I'm okay. I think I don't have any comments. I just want to say that, like the Honourable Minister of Nigeria, because a lot of data is coming in and a lot of interesting results is coming in from what we are seeing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wada, some comments from you, closing comments from you. Thank you for all of your input so far.
Well, just would like to end by saying I hope by the next webinar, the breaking news will be the collaboration between the artisanal miners and the ministry on the ASM processing centers.
Fabulous, thank you. And then maybe Hussein or Suleiman, I don't know if you want to have some closing remarks from your side.
Yeah, I'll just add, well, thank you very much, Honourable Minister, again for joining us and supporting our work and the Arab African Mining Conference. And thank you, Dr. Abdulrazaq, again. It was a pleasure to see you in London last year, and hopefully we will see you with the Honourable Minister in London next year, as well as, of course, Mr. Wada. You are so very welcome to join us. Hopefully this environment will have passed and we might be meeting in person then. But and thank you, Mark, for doing an outstanding job of moderating this, and the technical glitches here and there, but you know, this is the world that we live in, so at least we can still communicate.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm sure we'll repeat this hopefully in a year's time, and we can look back on the 0.6% being 1.2% or 2% or whatever it's going to be, God willing. And I can only say that thank you from my side. Wardell Armstrong has worked extensively in Nigeria, and we look forward to doing so again in the near future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
All the best. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.